10. Laws of the 48 he mastered. Today we will break down in detail the 10 laws of the 48 laws of power Mr. Vince McMahon has mastered. And if you want to be as powerful as he is, then you should pay close attention. Let's dive in. Law 1. Never outshine the master strategy. Vince always ensured he was the master of WWE's universe. No matter how big stars became, they were always framed as his creations. Example. During the Attitude Era, Stone Cold Steve Austin was arguably the biggest star in the world. Vince inserted himself into the feud as Mr. McMahon, the evil boss, reminding fans that Austin's rebellion only mattered because it was against him. By doing so, he remained the central figure of Wee's narrative. Law 2. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemy strategy. Vince avoided relying on old friends or family who might hold him back. Instead, he used enemies or rivals as tools. Example, when Vince expanded nationally in the 1980s, he raided rival territories for talent. Hogan, Piper, Savage. Instead of leaning on promoters loyal to his father, he flipped competitors into employees, proving he could turn rivals into assets. Law 3. Conceal your intentions strategy. Vince disguised his boldest moves so no one could stop them until it was too late. Example, WrestleMania. I was a massive gamble. Vince secretly mortgaged everything he owned to finance it. He presented it as just another show, so hiding the risk. When it became a cultural phenomenon, he shocked both competitors and investors who had no idea how much he had wagered. Law 5. So much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life strategy. WWE's reputation as the big leagues was non-negotiable. Vince crushed any narrative that painted WWE as second tier. Examples. During the Monday Night Wars, even when WCW was beating WWE in ratings, Vince promoted WWE as the true wrestling brand. He branded rival promotions as minor leagues when he acquired them, protecting WWE's dominance. Even amid steroid scandals, Vince projected strength, never admitting WWE was corrupt. Law 7. Get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit strategy. Vince let creative minds develop ideas, but made sure he was seen as the visionary. Examples. Pat Patterson invented the Royal Rumble, but it was Vince's marketing and presentation that made fans associate it with him. Writers created storylines, but Vince publicly took credit for shaping WWE's creative direction, solidifying his reputation as the genius behind the product. Law 11. Learn to keep people dependent on your strategy. Vince ensured wrestlers' fame was tied to WWE, keeping them reliant on his company for global relevance. Examples. Stars like Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage went to WCW, but eventually came back because WWE controlled the bigger platform. Modern stars like John Cena and The Undertaker stayed loyal because we gave them mainstream fame. Movies, talk shows, merchandising. Without Vince, their reach would have been limited. Law 15. Crush your enemy. Totally strategy. Vince didn't just aim to beat competition, he aimed to eliminate it. Example, during the Monday Night Wars, Vince didn't settle for coexisting with WCW. He drove them into financial ruin, then bought their video library, talent contracts, and trademarks in 2001. WCW was erased, and its history rewritten under WWE's control. Law 21 they say, who's 40? Play a sucker to catch a sucker. Seem dumber than your mark strategy. Vince played the role of the naive promoter when it benefited him, hiding his ruthlessness. Example, during his '94 steroid trial, Vince acted as if he was unaware of the scope of steroid use among wrestlers, painting himself as misled rather than malicious. He avoided serious legal punishment by convincing the court he was less involved than he really was. Law 26, and then keep your hands clean strategy. Vince used middlemen to take the heat for controversial decisions, protecting his image as the seer. Examples. Jim Ross and John Laurinaitis often handled wrestler firings, not Vince directly. When controversial storylines drew backlash, he blamed writers or talent, rarely taking personal responsibility. This let him remain the figure of authority without being seen as the villain, except when he chose to in character. Law 33. Discover each man's thumbscrew strategy. Vince identified people's deepest motivations or weaknesses and used them to control outcomes. Examples. Montreal Screwjob, 1997. Vince knew Bret Hart's loyalty to the WWF. The WWF conflicted with his pride. He exploited this by forcing Bret to drop the title in a way that broke Bret's trust, but protected Vince's company. With Stone Cold, Vince leaned into his rebellious nature, creating a feud where Austin's defiance made WWE million. With The Rock, Vince tapped into his ambition, pushing him to be the most electrifying man in sports entertainment, ensuring he stayed tied to WWE's success.